And then in 2010, I discovered that Barack Obama had posed as Osama bin Laden with his hand raised in a phony Taliban photo. The odds of two men having similar palm prints are 64 billion to 1, which means it has to be Barack Obama. And right after I went public in February of 2010, I was now being followed by the FBI Director, Robert Mueller himself, and his New York office assistant, FBI Director, Joseph Demarest Jr., whose photos and pictures I have at this moment to prove it. And then in April of 2010, Nancy Wallace contacted me, and Nancy wanted to interview me regarding the Barack Obama identity. And from that point, Nancy and I did an interview, and we have remained friends up until this present moment. Nancy, if you like to say something now, you can have the floor.
Very interesting stuff. So a lot of people are going to be sitting there and going, now, how does this man know all that stuff? Where did he get his information from? He's got to be a fake. He's got to be telling untruth. He's got to be doing disinformation. So are there any websites that you can send the people to that will prove to them about the information that you just gave out?
Okay. The first website is youtube.com/SINDONIPRODUCTIONS. The second website is youtube.com/WEBFLIXSGUY. That's youtube.com/WebFlixGuy. The third website is my name, STEPHENS, Stevens World, WORLD, TV.com. That's StevensWorldTV.com. And the fourth website, the big $100,000 website, actually it's a $25 million website, because after you go there, you realize why I'm owed the $25 million reward for information for the arrest and capture of Osama bin Laden. That website is OsamaIsObama.webs.com. That's ObamaIsOsama.webs.com. ObamaIsOsama.webs.com. And there you have it.
Okay, so now let's go backwards a little bit. Let's go backwards because my theory is that there have been many, many, many cover-ups in our history. You came up with some of them, but there are so many more. Why do you think that the normal everyday person out there, Stephen, has such a hard time believing that our government could ever do anything like 9/11, like assassinate JFK, things like that? Why do you think people are just refusing to open their mind and wake up to that?
Because they've been conditioned by watching the television, listening to what they hear from these politicians, and they want to believe, they're naive, that they think these things are true. If they would turn off the TV, start tuning in, start listening more to what they're feeling in their gut, they'll learn that what they've been told is a bald-faced lie.
The part I think that people have a really hard, and I mean I like the echo in the back because if they don't get it the first time, they're going to get it the second time if they listen. The part of people waking up, I mean, there's many, many people out there that talks about the conspiracy theories. I mean, David Icke's been out there for a long time. Alex is out there. All these people are shouting and carrying on about all these things going on. And yet, it still appears that the media has control of what people are willing to listen to and what they don't want to hear. Now, for 9/11, for example, when that occurred, there was many videos that came out about it. Many videos showed how it was probably a pretty big setup. and yet people refuse to believe it. Maybe because of their emotions, maybe because, they knew a relative, or maybe because they just didn't think our government could do it. But there's been a lot of testimony coming, and there is a movie coming out called 9/11 Explosive Evidence Experts Speak Out. And they are actually touring the United States now. They are going to be in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, May 30th, and they are going to have 40 whistle-blowing experts present the evidence of the controlled demolition at the World Tower Trade Center on 9/11. Do you think if people go to this screening, or if they watch this movie and they really listen to what these 40 whistleblowers have to say, do you think that might help them open up their mind a little bit?
Absolutely. When that happened, I contacted Control Demolition Incorporated out of Virginia, and I contacted the CEO. I said, how do you sleep at night being involved in the 1993 Oklahoma bombing cleanup, and now in the World Trade Center towers of 1, 2, and number 7 going down by itself? 10 minutes later, my Hotmail email address was shut down, and I was sent a virus to knock off my computer.
So, people who are listening out there, you really need to start paying very close attention. This is an election year. We have been fed many times over just a crock of you-know-what, and yet we still don't wake up. My question, I guess, is what's it going to take to wake up the American people to find out that they are actually allowing themselves to be sold down the river with a very short paddle, if at all a paddle. I get a bunch of emails from all kinds of people. One of the emails I got I was trying to find, and I can't find it for some reason now, and I've gone through it the whole time you've been talking. And the email, I never even got to read it, stated that there was a Democratic somebody who had proven that Obama's birth certificate was a total fake. And then there's the Arizona people who are, like you said a little bit earlier, probably going to take him off the ballot because they don't buy into this anymore. If people started to go back in history like what you did, and they can connect the dots, let's call it, because I'm sure it started before 1930. It's been going on for a very long time, but if they can connect the dots, and whether they want to believe them or whether they don't want to believe them, if the dots are connected and it's right there in plain sight, some people are still going to say, nah, nah, nah. Other people are going to go, I was really stupid. And some people are going to go, could it be true? There's been many statements made that fact is often stranger to believe. I should say fiction is often stranger to believe than nonfiction. And that's vice versa.
Well, the reason I use 1930 to start today is because we are now living under the Fourth Reich. George Herbert Walker Bush has created a prison planet atmosphere, and he is responsible for where we are today, all these hoaxes, all these drug problems, this Barack Obama, this 9/11 nonsense. He is directly responsible, and I also hold him accountable for the many attempts on my life. But George, I'm here to tell you, I'm a weeble. I wobble, but I don't go down.
It's really there. I should say there's a lot of people out there, who are trying to make their statements, who are trying to get people, Occupy. That was a big farce, not because the people didn't believe it, but they had no leadership in it. I think if they had a leadership, it would have made a big difference, and it would not have gone away so easily. But the fact of the matter is they also had a lot of people who decided to come in there who really were just trying to make them look really bad and decided that it was time for them to go away. And, of course, they did. So do you think, let's just think for a minute, do you think that if the facts were all given like you just did, if they were given kind of, series by series. And the people really decided to look into things. Now, granted, most human beings are pretty lazy, and they want everybody else to fix things, or they want everybody else to do it. They don't want to take responsibility. But if they took the responsibility to really, tear into all that information that's out there, do you think it might cause a revolution, a new revolution?
I think it's inevitable that it's going to happen. But what's got to happen is someone who's got the courage to stand up to the lead domino and knock him down.
Okay, but now there's many lead dominoes who all work kind of together. I mean, if you really look at how our world and the different countries are all caving in and going on this downward motion with our stock market going crazy, gold going up in prices, and soon water will too, and so will silver be at their all-time high. People are either going to have to do something about that, or they're going to continue to run in fear. And if they continue to run in fear, what they're seeing now, they need to times it by at least 100 as far as bad things yet to come. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. And the reason why George Bush is the catalyst for the domino, and I speak now to the people in Paraguay, ayúdame, help me. Right now, George Herbert Walker Bush has bought all the aquifers in Paraguay to control the water in South America. The water is the next frontier that they're trying to take advantage of, and George Herbert Walker Bush must be stopped.
Okay, and that may be true, except people who are listening are going to go, and how do we do that? You can call him out all you want, but the media is going to cover his butt for him like it has, like it's covered everybody's butt. So what can the people really do? They can protest, they can go up and they can say all kinds of things. With the new law that's been passed, could possibly be put in jail for no apparent reason, never be able to talk to any relatives, and everything be taken from them. And people who know that are probably not going to be so strong as to go out there and try to give all that up. So how else can it be done?
Pretty easy. All you need to do is get a group of 6 people together and make an arrest. Go out there, make a citizen's arrest, and arrest him.
And even if they do that, chances are it will get turned back on them because those 6 people may not understand exactly how to do it or what to do with it.
First off, here's what I want to explain to you. We are all straw men. Since 1963, our birth certificates were... I'm going to explain the law as appears today. In 63, our birth certificate was given back to us in all capital letters, which meant we now became a corporation. Everything we got, all the paperwork after that we got, was in all capital letters. Your driver's license, your library card, everything that you've gotten from 1963 forward is all capital letters. Your birth certificate was then sold to banks in Europe, and then you became collateral for all the hard work that you're going to do for the next 40 years was now borrowed by the senators and congressmen, now borrowed from the Federal Reserve Bank on every American citizen as collateral. There is no one right now who's in jail, who's not in jail without his or her consent. As long as you do not recognize yourself to that all capital name, you are not that person on that paperwork. If you go into a court, there are 2 flags in a court, an American flag and a maritime flag. You are now being convicted not by a court of the United States, you're convicted of a court of the high seas, a British flag, which now makes you a person arrested unbeknownst to you through a country that's not even the Republic of the United States.